Welcome back to the Keeping It Positive podcast with your host. I'm Camryn.
And I'm Ashley, and today we're going to be interviewing Camryn about her nonprofit organization that she started and just get to know the steps into starting your own if that's something that you aspire to do one day. But before we get into that, we're going to start with our unpopular opinion of the day. Yeah. And I'm going to give us that today. So today, our unpopular opinion is that I prefer taking showers at nighttime rather than in the morning. So I know some people prefer in the morning when they first get up, but I don't know, I just prefer it at night so I can sleep in 5 to 10 minutes later and then just get dressed. Because honestly and truly, we just sleep in our clean bed. Your sheet should be clean. So that's what I prefer doing.
I completely agree. I like night showers definitely better than morning showers. I can definitely sleep in a little bit longer. That helps a lot. And then I feel clean. Even though my sheets and stuff are clean. I feel clean,
exactly.
Body, lotioned.
It's something different. And some people it's dirty to sleep in and not take a shit. No, it's not.
And then somebody I know said that it's just better because it feels like you're getting all the dirt off of you that you had on
from the day. Exactly.
Okay. But if you wait till the next day, the morning,
I can't do that because you're sleeping in your own filth a little bit. I just
have my clean skin,
exactly.
Having, it's nothing like having fresh sheets, cold sheets, cold.
And then you gotta move around to find a cold spot.
Yeah. I'm the pillow moving around. It's nothing like it, y'all. You get some good sleep.
It's literally.
I get the best sleep like that.
That's what I'm saying. And then when it gets too hot, you gotta roll over a little bit or flip your pillow over to get the fresh side of the pillow.
Lay my stomach. Get a good sleep like that. I swear. But yeah, I completely agree. 100%.
All right, y'all. Well, now we're about to get into the topic of the day. So we're going to just give Camryn some questions and have her answer them about her nonprofit. So I guess the first question would be, just explain the name of it and what is it that you do and who do you do it with?
Okay, so just the background.
Yeah.
So my nonprofit, or me and my sister's nonprofit, is called Brown Bag Love. We started it around 2022. One of our main missions is to end food insecurity and to kind of eliminate food deserts within Charlotte and Greensboro areas, but also around North Carolina. As we grow, we'll talk about that later. But yeah, that's mainly, we started around 2022. I do it with my sister, my blood sister, my girl, my bestie forever. She drives me crazy, but I love her. She'll be watching this episode, so love you, Kay. But yeah, that's.
All right. What made you want to start this with your sister? What y'all talk about before y'all started this?
So, what did we talk about before we started this? I have to go all the way back in there. Pretty big. Well, me and my sister, we always knew we wanted to do service projects and just give back to our local community because that's just something that we've always been doing for our whole entire lives. We've been in Girl Scouts all 12 years and, always trying to give back, always helping people. And that's always what we wanted to do. So I think we had an idea of we wanted to help people. It was not necessarily we didn't know it would be as a nonprofit or turn into a nonprofit. But we definitely always wanted to give back to our local community, do what we can to help people. Even if it was giving people money we saw on the street. It was even small things and big things. We saw we wanted to help people and make an impact, whether it was big or small. So that's what was our main thing. That's what we wanted to do,
Good. I didn't know you were a Girl Scout.
Girl, yeah, I was a Girl Scout too. I know you was a Girl Scout.
Did.
Yeah, I didn't do you did
the go to word.
Yeah, I didn't do that. I wanted to do those, but I didn't want to do myself. Back then I was a little scared to start my. Back then I wasn't always confident with my abilities. To put myself out there and do stuff
that's
that.
part of growing though, and now you are.
Yeah, now I am.
The whole nonprofit organization.
Yeah, so we definitely love that, but I love being a Girl Scout. That literally probably for me, it shaped me my character and who I am in a huge way. Other than my parents, my parents always instilled that in me, but that helped me a lot.
All right. So what steps did you take when starting your nonprofit, Brown Bag Love?
Okay, so it was a few steps. I would say, the beginning stages was kind of just the formulation stages, the ideation of what we were going to do. So, yes, we have a nonprofit, but where we wanted to give back, but how, what causes did we specifically want to target? What population do we do? We want to target families. We want to target mothers. We want to target veterans, military veterans, like what kind of people did we want to help? So we kind of figured out all those logistics before we started anything. Like, okay, we wanted to help people who were less fortunate, people who didn't have money for food and didn't have access to food in general. So we know that that's the population that we want to focus on, like the homelessness population, people who didn't have houses and stuff like that. We knew that. We knew kind of what we wanted to do. We knew we wanted to have a nonprofit. So I think just having the ideation phase where we're just kind of planning things out before we actually do anything, planning like the name. The name took forever. Planning the name, planning like the logo, how we wanted things to look, what we wanted to do in the community, who we wanted to work with. All that was in like the ideation, formulation, planning phase that we went through. Like it probably took like, at least a couple months before we like actually like, okay, we have our first event that we want to do. We have our logo. I want to create an Instagram page. We want to create this page. Have social media. Do what we do. We kind of had that plan in that phase, and then we moved towards like, okay, now we have that set in stone. How do we now move to having an event, and how do we put that into action? Because like we can say we want to do it all day, but how do we actually do it?
Right.
I think that next step was like reaching out to people, like building a community, building like those connections that we needed to have in order to have something. Because I know that the first event that we had was I had on my campus. My sister she goes to North Carolina A&T, shout out Aggies, but she had her event at her school and I had mine at UNC Greensboro. But the first one that I reached out to our CRO Bree. I asked her if we could use the classroom as a location, as a space, because I didn't really want to go through doing all the stuff with people. So I went through there and I had that connection with her, what was able to give me a space to have the event, and then asking friends and family, people I knew, peers, classmates, mentors to donate what they could. And even though it might have not been a lot, it was something. And I know we had to start small. Things weren't going to be like pop off. It's going to be 100 people at the.
Right.
I knew I wanted to start small. It was going to be small, so I was just glad to just get the ball rolling, because I know that it can snowball, but I had to start somewhere. So yeah.
Okay, well, that's good. And I remember when you did start, everybody was like, Camryn has a what now?
Yeah.
Like, so let's talk a little bit about how, like, your decision into not telling anybody about this, like, the planning stages and why that was important for you.
Or not telling. I think for me, that's just how I am with a lot of things. I will tell, like, my close friends, like, I won't necessarily, like, put it out there to everyone until I know that things are about to be done, like put in place, like, or until we have that first event. Because I'm the type of person, I don't like to talk about it. I like to just be about it. Like, let's just do it. Let's just try. Like, if it fails, it fails. But let's just do it. Because at least if I do, I can see what I need to tweak. Like, what areas I need to tweak. Maybe I need to change this. Maybe I need to, instead of going about this way, maybe have people donate this way, or maybe use this platform, or maybe change this logo or this mission statement around. Whatever we have to do to alter it for the better. That's what I did. That's what I wanted to do. I was like consulting with my sister, like, oh, what do you think we should do about this? You want to get people from your campus to come out more. How do I extend that? You know what I mean? How do we grow that community over there too? So it was just kind of like, I think it wasn't necessarily like I'm intentional, but it was just like I like to keep things to myself until I know things are about to like happen. So I can, once I know that happened, I'm like, okay, now I can share this. I've done this. I'm about to start on this. This is about to,
Yeah, and I feel like that's important for a lot of people to remember too, because sometimes people speak on things too early in the process, and you don't want people out in this world are cruel. People out in this world just sometimes want to see you fail, and that's why it's important to try to keep some stuff to yourself. Yeah. Until you know, okay, now we're at this stage where I can share it, and I can have people help me have Yeah. So that's really important. Yeah. To remember,
especially like big plans like that. I think I definitely am like that with big things, the big steps I'm about to take in my life, whether it's like a new job or like anything. I always like kind of wait a second to like consult with my people around me. I'll tell my family, of course, but people around, my friends and stuff like that, other peers and classmates, I'll wait to tell them, just because people like to pray on downfall, and I just always want to keep my hopes up and my spirits up, and that protect your peace, so I can uplift myself and make sure that I know where I'm at before I share like things with
Exactly. And also it's stated, some people say that the more people you tell, the less likely it is to happen, because then it's out there and you're in your brain is like, okay, I'm already doing it. Well, you really haven't started anything.
And I don't want people to put doubts in my not that you're saying people would, but I don't even want to take that chance.
Right.
I'd rather just like keep it between me and the person who I'm doing it, my sister, than just like to put it out there. I'm gonna do this. And then I look if it doesn't happen, or like it doesn't happen. I get looked at a certain way, or I always want to be the person who says if I'm about it, I'm gonna do it, and it's gonna happen. Whether it's amazing or it's just bombs, I'm gonna make it happen. You know what I mean? So.
That's good. Well, we talked about you're working with your sister, and I know sometimes people can say like working with families can be a little challenging because we love them to death. However, I know you have arguments and you disagree all the time. So how is that working with your sister?
I was just thinking about this like last night. I was like, working with my sister, it has its cons, but it has its pros too. I think working with my sister has been a challenge, but it's also had like some of the biggest rewards for me because I feel like really fulfilled that this is my sister. Like this is not just some not random, but it's not somebody I just met. It's somebody. This is a person that's gonna be with me throughout my whole life. Has seen me at my worst, seen me at my best, and like continues to push me. Because I'm gonna be honest, I love you, Caden, but Caden is the hardest person on me. Like other people, it might be hard on me, my friends and like other outside family members, extended family members, but my sister is like the person who I know. Like, she's going to push me to my limits. Like, like she's going to make sure that, and she's very perfectionist. So, I'm not so much a perfectionist, but she likes to have things the way she likes to like them. Colors, look, like everything. Like, she has things a certain way, and it's not done a certain way. She's like, she's like you. She's like, I like it, but, she's going to do like the little sandwich. She's going to do the sandwich. She'll say something good,
and then something,
change
something good.
Yeah. And that's how she is. That's really how she is in real life. About everything. Like, y'all, it don't have to be just, like, the nonprofits that is about, like, if I have a hairstyle she don't like, she gonna be honest with me. She's, like, the most honest person I know, other than
that's the best people you have in your life, though.
Yeah. So, she gonna tell me every time how she feel about everything I got going on. So, that's why I think, that's why I appreciate my sister, and that way when we do work together, she's, like, really honest with me, and I know she's gonna push me and like make me work harder, only for the betterment of everything, like the community and our nonprofit as a whole. So I appreciate that a lot. But it definitely has moments where I'm like, girl, like why are you being so particular? Like you're being extra.
Like, make sure it's good.
I'm like, you're being extra, like, or we have arguments where I want something, like even the name, like I wanted a certain name and she didn't want the name. I want this name. We're going back and forth. Like, y'all know how it is having a sibling. Like, you have differing opinions, and it's like, it goes on forever. But, we had to learn how to compromise, and I think that it's nothing like having, like, your sibling. I think your sibling, I don't know. I started thinking lately, like, people who have siblings, like, you should really, really cherish your sibling, because siblings are with you, like, for your whole life. Like, they've seen you for your whole life. Like, yeah, your parents see you, but they've only seen you, like, they've seen you grow up, and then, like, other people, they've seen you only for a fraction of your life, but your siblings have been with you from, like, day one, and I think, especially if you have siblings that are close in age, too, like we both do, like, my sister, she gets on my nerves, but she's my best friend, for real, and she my ride or die. I know if anything happened to me, that girl, she gonna be the first one to go to bat for me, so, and it's nothing like having somebody like that to work with you, so.
That's facts. That's very true.
Yeah.
So, where do you see the nonprofit going in like the next 5 years? What visions do you have? What plans do you want to think about doing? Of course, don't give us all the tea. Don't give us all the tea. But just a general overview.
You gotta keep something left to the imagination. But okay, so my sister, she's still in school right now. She'll be out of school in a year. So I'm hoping that when she gets out, we can try to do more things in Charlotte. Still do things in Greensboro, but do some more things in Charlotte and kind of like build up our nonprofit here in Charlotte. I have done things, but I feel like we can extend it a little bit further. Working with like having some different partnerships and working with some different companies and working with some different organizations just to do certain projects and have certain things that can help the community as a whole. I definitely, like one of my major goals for the nonprofit, eventually over time, I don't know when this is going to happen, but this is just like not out there, but it's not out there, but it's like, it can happen. Right? Like, definitely I want to have possibly have a garden or like a community garden, something where like, you know, me and my sister can keep up, but like we can share with the people around us and like help people, because I think that a lot of people do not have like access to fresh food. Like even you know, even like people like middle class people who don't have access to fresh organic food that don't have, you know, pesticides and all this other stuff in it, and all that stuff kind of like it plays into your health. So we want to like, me and my sister always grew up around like people who wanted to. Our grandparents grew their own food. Like they did not eat out. Like I still to this day, they eat pizza like maybe once a year. They eat Chick-fil-A maybe 2 times a year. Like they do not eat out. They do not. I can't stress that enough. They do not eat out. Like everything they make, they make it and they grow it. And they all they canned stuff, collard greens, green beans, like anything you can think of. Like, and we grew up like around that so much, and so they grew up making stews every winter. So every winter they would make stew and you can it up and give it to people around them. So I do want to like keep on that tradition of kind of sharing that food as wealth, and like kind of sharing that knowledge of gardening. And you know, my dad gardens now, he's into that, and I'm trying to learn. I'm trying but it's hard. I'm trying to. It's a lot, and like, you know, but he's slowly teaching me, helping me. And you know, he's like, Camryn, you need to come out here and learn how to do this, because you know, I'm like, ugh, but I know he's right, you know. So that's eventually like my long-term goals for the nonprofit. I definitely feel like me and my sister could do that, and I definitely will, but just in due time. But I definitely want to grow in Charlotte more and have more people show up for volunteer events and service events and projects, and you know, work with other organizations. So those are my main things.
That's good. And what advice would you give to anybody who's watching us today who is thinking about starting a nonprofit, or it's been on their heart for a while and they just don't know where to start, or if they even want to go through with it?
I think my number one tip would be, well, I would say overall advice would be to, first thing, don't wait on anybody. Don't wait on anyone to give you that validation. Like, oh, now you can do this, or now you're good enough to do this. Like, no, because a lot of time, like especially for me, my first 2 years of college, I didn't waste time because I was trying things and I put myself out there. Right. But I knew the whole time I was in college I wanted to start something for me, because a lot of times I tried for things and tried to get, you know, positions, and I just ended up not getting them. And I didn't like the fact that I was waiting on somebody else to validate the things that I could do, because I knew I could do anything. I can handle, you know, whatever somebody throws at me, I can handle. I can just create my own stuff, you know, start doing my own thing, whatever that may be, whatever that looked like. So I would say my number one tip is just to not wait on anybody for validation. If you see there's a need in your local community, or in your community, your city, your state, I would say just try to put yourself out there and just start doing something. Start small. You don't have to start huge. You can start doing something at your school. Like if you go to college, start doing something at your school. If you are in your neighborhood, like start doing something locally within your neighborhood that can help your neighborhood community. Like, it's like you don't have to start doing some elaborate, you know, service project. Like, you can start small, and it doesn't have to be something big. It can be something small that you know to help somebody, whether it's in a big way or a small way. It's just start small and take it day by day. You know, you're gonna learn as you go, but I would say just don't be afraid to do it. If you see there's a need, you jump on it, because people need people, and people and if you see a need, that there's a need in the community, then you need to be the one to do that. You know what I mean? You need to be the one to step out there, put yourself out there, and help those people who may need help that community that you see that's not doing the best. You know, you gotta be the one to do it, because nobody else is gonna. If you can't sit around and wait other people to do it because they're not, you gotta see that in your heart, and you know that regardless of what, you know, other people may be doing, I'm gonna do this because I know it needs to be done. And that's how I think. You know, if I see there's a need, and I see that I don't like people. I don't like the fact that people out here don't have food. I don't like to see people hungry. I have hot meals every night. I'm grateful enough to have that. So I want to make sure that other people have that. For me, there's nothing I wouldn't do for other people. So that's how I've always been. That's how I always want to be. You know, me and my sister are like that. We were raised in a household that was, you know, before anything else, we want you to be good people. Right. Like, we want you to be godly people. We want you to always give out love to the world and give people respect and things like that. So I would say, yeah, for sure. Just knowing your heart, know what your values are, and stand on your morals. And if you have those and you stand harshly on those, then everything else will fall into place. And you'll know what you want to do. You'll know how you want to do it, and you'll just end up putting yourself out there and not being afraid to see that need and do something about it. So,
thank you for that. I hope y'all listen to that. That was some good advice. All right, and the last thing, if people want to find your nonprofit on social media, where would they go to look?
You would have to go to Brown Bag Love with 2 E's on Instagram.
We're going to put it right here at the bottom.
You guys follow that. We have you look down there on the page, and we have a lot of service events that we've done in the past 2 years since we started. But yeah, and then we also have, if you need to email us, it's brownbaglove with 2 E's @gmail.com. So if you need to contact us, either DM us or you can contact that email.
So y'all do that. Well, thank you so much, Camryn, for letting me interview you today on our podcast. But now it's time for the quote of the day, and that's going to be given by none other than Camryn.
So the quote actually directly is very personal to me because I put it on my graduation cap, and it's just very personal quote because I literally live by this quote. So the quote is from Gandhi, and it says, "Be the change you wish to see in the world." Mm-hmm. And that's literally kind of what I was saying already about, if you see a need, don't be afraid to go after that, whether that's small or big. Just don't be afraid to help others and then put yourself out there because you don't know what can come from that. And although, we started our nonprofit 2 years ago, it's grown to be something that, the thing that I'm the most proud of out of all the accomplishments in my life. And I've had, many accomplishments and gotten awards and stuff like that. It's been something that's been so rewarding just for me, as a person. Helping other people is just nothing like it. And I said again, you see a need, don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Be that change that you want to see in the world. You want to see this change, do something to change that. So that's my quote.
I love that one right there. It goes perfectly with everything we talked about today. And so you need to be the change that you wish to see in the world, y'all. Do something good for somebody today, just because. But thank you so much for tuning in today, and we hope that this podcast has inspired you to keep it positive.